Welcome to Coaching Time. Today we're going to get a closer look at trail braking and how I like to customize my pedals. Now, following the previous video, we're going to arrive at Bus Stop Chicane and La Source, two very hard braking. So here we arrive at La Source now, brake 70 meters, brake hard and releasing all the way to the apex. As you can see, the traveling on the Invicta pedal is quite short. It's very realistic compared to a real race car. The fact that this pressure sensor, so you can have very precise input into the game. I'm going to come to the Bus Stop Chicane. Very good example of hard braking, trail braking. Set up the car straight, brake super hard, and slowly release the pedal. La Source, another very good example. Set the car straight, 6th gear, 70 meters, brake hard, release slowly, and apply the power. Because the pedal is hard, it allows me to be very precise and feel through my legs how much force I apply to the brakes. If the pedal was soft, I will have difficulty to have that precise feeling. One thing that I personally like is have absolutely no play into the first part of the brake application. I like the pedal to be instantly stiff, so I don't have any delay from the moment I apply the pressure to the moment that the pedal actually brakes. Obviously, I use Invicta pedal at home. I have tried different brands in the past, but since I moved to the Invicta pedals, I'm extremely happy. There are different brands on the market, but the Invicta pedal feels super good, and also I love the design. The design for me is it's also something that's quite important. So if it's something you're going to put in the office or in the middle of the living room for some of you, you want things to look good. So they have managed to have amazing performance and a very slick design at the same time. Most of you would think, do I really want to use a lot of money, so much money, to be precise and to be fast? And my answer to that would be yes, because if you're gonna buy a cheaper model or something that's not as precise and as good as the Invicta pedals, eventually you're gonna get better and better, and the last 1 second to 5 tenths is gonna be staying in there. So you're gonna end up buying it anyway. So for me, my advice to everybody is buy the Invicta pedal from the start, so at least you know that you can work on your technique. You have the tools to brake properly, and the difference, it doesn't represent a big difference at the end if you're gonna have to buy them anyway. So I would say save a little bit of money, buy the proper pedals from the start, in this case the Invicta, and work on your technique so you get your lap time right, because the worst thing that can happen is that you get 5 tenths of a second from everybody, from the fastest lap time, and at the end you're like, oh, why did I not buy the Invicta? The 5 tenths are laying in there. For me, one of the reasons why a stiff pedal is very important to be precise is the feedback that the pedal will give you. So if it's a cheaper model, for example, with the soft pedal, I will take the throttle here as an example. It's very difficult to hit the same point because I have a little bit of pressure obviously from the spring, but I don't have the same feeling as the stiff pedal. So when I press, if it's just measuring the distance and not the pressure, like the braking pedals on the Invicta, it's extremely difficult, unless you are a robot, to hit exactly the same spot every time. So here, it's not. I will not have consistency in my braking. With the stiff brake pedal, I receive a lot of information back to my body, so I know that, okay, in racing we talk in not in percent, we talk in bars. Bars is the amount of pressure that you put in the pedals. So if I put 50 bars, for example, let's say 50 bars is 50%, and I want to put 55. Because the pedal is so hard and doesn't travel so much, allowed me to be more precise in my input. So for example, it's not going to travel a lot more, but I'm just going to have to push a little bit extra. So I know it's like muscle memory. You push 50 bars and then you like, oh, I can brake a little harder. And to come back to the previous video we made with for example, the front lockup. If you are in a straight line with the steering straight and you put 50 bars and you're not locking the tires, then the next lap you can brake 60. So you brake a little harder and then you will brake 80 until you reach that point where the tires is unable to take more. So depending on the cars, if it's an F1 with a lot of downforce, then you're going to be able to brake really, really hard with the Invicta pedals, or a GT3, depending if it has ABS or not, obviously, but you have to find that limit of the car. And with these pedals, it's very, very easy. It's much easier to find that limit and to balance, to be on the edge of the limit, that with the pedal that travels too much, or a pedal that is too soft, or a pedal that doesn't have the pressure sensors. Because then if it doesn't have the pressure sensor, it will detect the traveling, and like I said before, if it's just the travel, it's very difficult to be precise. So is the Invicta feels like what you find in the real car? And my answer to that is yes, and that is why I use the product. That is why I made the switch as soon as I could. It feels exactly like a real car. You can obviously adjust depending if it's a GT again, or Formula 1 or Formula 4, Formula 3, then it will be slightly different. But overall, what every racing driver wants, some have a little bit different preferences than others, but in the overall picture, everybody likes to have a very stiff brake pedal. And like I said before, the main reason for that is the feedback, and you can be so much more precise with the stiff pedal than the soft pedals. And the Invicta pedals are extremely consistent because of the system and the technology going into it. You will be so consistent on your braking. Every time you press, the pedal will react the same way, so you can be extremely precise. If you get the chance one day to drive a real car, then training on the Invicta pedal is the best you can do for yourself, because you will find something similar in the real car. So if you're a young kid, 12, 13 years old, and you have plans to go to Formula 4, for instance, a few of my drivers in Formula 4 that I coach are using the Invicta pedals, because they made the switch as soon as they tried it. They loved it, and it allows them to train properly for after driving in the real Formula 4.